Okay, class, I know you totally missed me yesterday and hearing my voice on the other side of the video, but I'm back, yay! So we're going to talk about perimeters of composite figures, and the reason why we're throwing in composite figures now and dealing with perimeter is because in a circle, the circumference of the circle is also called the perimeter, kind of, in a regular figure. And so we're going to talk about now a composite figure. Let me remind you the definition of a composite figure. So a composite figure is basically a figure composed of more than one shape. So it could have triangles, it could have quadrilaterals, and remember quadrilaterals are any four-sided shape with straight lines, or it could have semicircles. And we're going to be able to deal with any of these shapes put together because we know how to find the perimeters of all of those. So here we have estimate the perimeter of the figure. So our first step is to count, and this is when we're given a picture like this, and we have to estimate. So estimate is getting a close, an educated guess, but it's close enough that we're okay with that idea. So we're going to count up each side. But I want you to remember if a length is on an angle, so let me show you what I mean by an angle. This right here is an angle. See how it goes diagonal through that? This is an angle, an angle. So if it is on an angle, it is equal to about 1.5 times a normal length. Okay, so what I mean by that is instead of this just being 1, because it's on this diagonal, it's actually worth 1.5. And you can kind of see that because if I was going to drop this down here, it's going to fall right here and you have another half to go. And so when you're estimating this, you need to make sure you account for that, okay? So we're going to just count. And I'm just going to count the outsides of each one of these is worth 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12. And remember, to find the perimeter of something, we add. So I'm going to add that. And I'm going to say, okay, well, here's 1.5. Another 1.5 makes 3. Here's 1.5. Another 1.5 makes another 3. And so the perimeter of this composite figure, or us estimating, would be close to what? There's 12, 15, 18. So we would call it 18. Now, normally we have to put units on this. I'm not sure what the units are here. Normally on an assignment or on the test, you'll have units and you'll need to put that there. And so let's just say they're inches for this purpose. And they're just inches, not inches squared. We're just finding a perimeter. Okay, let's go down to this, finding the perimeter of a composite figure. When we don't have to estimate, we want to find the actual. Okay, so our steps here. If there is a circle, we learned this yesterday, you will have to use the circumference formula. If it is a semicircle, so if you guys don't know what semicircles are, that would be half of a circle, okay, like we see here. You will have to divide the circumference by 2. So once you find the circumference, then just cut it in half or divide it by 2. And then our last step, we add the outside edge of each shape together. So let me do that with you here. So here we have this length right here is 5 inches and this length is 8 inches. So let's look at the circle first. Here is a semicircle and here also is a semicircle, but you can see that they're going to have the same diameters. So let's just kind of take this portion out and squeeze it together to make a full circle. Then we don't have to divide by 2 and then do the other same side. So if you can see that, you have a full circle by taking this out, you can do that. To find circumference of a circle now, well, we have the diameter, so it would be easy just to use our pi times d. And so let's do that. And let me remind you where pi is. So it's this button right here. Oh, you can't see that. This button right here. So it's pi times the diameter is 5. and we get 5 pi, or if we want that as a decimal, let's do 5 times 3.14. And we can see that we're going to get 15.7 as the circle. So we've now taken care of this, and we've taken care of this. If we wanted to find the semicircle, say this wasn't here, we could just, and it was just this part right here, we could divide this by 2 right here, and that would give us this amount. But because it ends up being a full circle, I'm not going to divide by 2. Okay. Now, we then need to add together the outside edges, so we know that this is plus 8 and plus 8 more. And remember, we're finding the perimeter, which is the whole outside. And so once I add these, I get 31.7, and I know my units are inches, and just inches. Okay? And that should be my answer for the perimeter of that. Alright, here's a couple more down here. We're going to try these together. I'm going to have you pause and do these ones on your own, and then come back and see how you did. So here we have a triangle. Now we don't know how to find the perimeter of a triangle, except for they already give us the information we need. We just add the outsides. So I'm going to say that this is 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus, oh, this doesn't have a side, but can you see how it's the exact same as this one right here? So because this is the same as this, I can say it's also 6, and plus my last dimension, 3. Okay, so then we just add those. 5 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 3. And I get 24. And I know then my answer is 24 inches. Easy enough, right? Okay, now this shape is just a little bit different. You'll see that we have a semicircle here. Okay, and then I have a rectangle here. So I'm going to start with my semicircle, but let's see. What do I need to use? Well, from here to here was 6 down here, so that has to be the diameter of my semicircle. Can you see that? And so I'm going to go pi times 6, and I'm going to use 3.14, and I get 18.84. Now, that is for the entire circle, but do I have a whole circle there? No, right? So we have to divide it by 2. So when I divide it by 2, I get 9.42 for the perimeter of my semicircle. And then I must add 4 and 6, and oh, this one also has to be 4 back in. So I have plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. And so my total perimeter would be 23.42 feet this time. All right, I want you to try these two on your own. Be careful with all the dimensions here. And remember, you're just finding the outsides, and come back and see how you did. Okay, here are your answers. You'll notice that I just added, and I included this as being 1.5 as well. And then on this one, I remembered that 7 was the same thing as this, so that's my diameter. So I went pi times 7, and then I had to divide by 2 because this is a semicircle. And I added back in, and there's my answer. If you have any questions, please write them down. Write them on your WSQ. Come tomorrow, and we will go over them.